Hello and welcome to this EPS Information Update. I'm Craig Bernbach. As we begin to bring more students back into school buildings for in-person learning, we want to revisit what's being done to make our schools as safe as possible for the return of students, staff, and visitors. Our approach is being guided by the best available science and direction from state education leaders and state and local health departments.
We're taking guidance from state and local health and education officials, but we can and are going further than the recommendations to take care of our students and staff in our schools.
So what will students, staff, and visitors experience when they enter our schools? Well, all Evergreen Public School staff are required to take a training course on COVID-19 infection prevention. COVID captains, as they've been nicknamed, have visited every one of our schools to help make sure schools are as safe as possible.
We walk through every school with an eye on social distancing, the personal protective equipment we would need, and how our custodial staff would need to conduct enhanced cleaning procedures.
The district purchased masks and other personal protective equipment and cleaning supplies. Our maintenance staff is working tirelessly to make sure our HVAC systems are in proper working order, have the latest filters, and have increased outdoor air ventilation as much as possible. As students and staff come to school each day, they or their parents will have to submit a daily attestation through their Skyward account that they're not showing any signs of illness and have not been in close contact with someone who has a confirmed or suspected case of COVID-19 infection. Students or whose parents don't or forget to submit the certification will have to go through a health screening, including a temperature check, completed by a school employee. If students pass the health screening, they will be allowed to return to class, but only after their parent or guardian has been contacted. So what will it be like when students enter school? Of course, any person entering an Evergreen Public Schools facilities building is required to correctly wear a face covering that is consistent with health department rules, over the mouth and over the nose. In front offices and other student interaction offices, there are plexiglass barriers like you may have seen at your local grocery store. In all of our schools, from classrooms to auditoriums and more, there will be social distancing requirements, keeping students and staff 6 feet apart. Our analysis has shown that 12 to 15 students can sit 6 feet apart and still meet social distancing guidelines in most of our classrooms. For students who must meet with specialists or who have one-on-one aides, social distancing will be maintained as much as possible, depending on the student's specific physical or learning needs. Our custodial contractor, ABM, is using a comprehensive cleaning program using approved but less toxic products to help control the spread of COVID-19. In addition to the normal cleaning routine, ABM will perform enhanced cleaning on common high-touch surfaces like doorknobs, light switches, and handrails. Teachers will limit the use of shared hands-on teaching materials, and classrooms will have disinfecting wipes available for the occasional cleaning of manipulatives, toys, and equipment. Keep in mind that some shared equipment, like computer lab keyboards, musical instruments, or cameras, can be damaged by cleaning solutions. In those instances, students will need to follow a hand-washing strategy before they use that equipment, which is always, of course, a good idea. When it comes to recess, students will need to wear masks while they play outside and maintain social distancing. There will be playground monitors, helping make sure kids are playing as safely as possible. Students will be asked to wash their hands or use hand sanitizer after being outside on the playground. When it comes to meals, our food service provider, Chartwells, will be preparing prepackaged grab-and-go breakfast and lunch that elementary school students will eat in their classrooms. Middle and high school students will have a variety of locations available to eat their meals depending on the school. Of course, students will be allowed to remove their masks to eat, but must keep them on while packing and unpacking their meals and must maintain social distancing during their meal times. Each school has a designated social distancing team, typically led by the school principal.
Our job is going to be to make sure that students and staff follow the guidelines. Social distancing, proper use of face coverings, frequent hand washing, proper cleaning procedures, and traffic flow. Basically, how do we get students and staff safely in and out of our buildings?
We also want to mention that there are updated procedures for getting students safely to and from school.
Since the spring, we've been working with transportation experts to develop new policies and procedures to enhance the safety for all our students on our school buses.
That means, again, that masks will be worn properly on buses, enhanced cleaning procedures for buses, and assigned seating arrangements will fit with social distancing requirements. A big question on everyone's mind is what happens if a student or staff member is exposed to the coronavirus at school or outside of school. We have thorough quarantine and screening protocols spelled out in guidelines that were prepared in consultation with our district health staff and the state and local health departments. These guidelines cover the length of time a student or staff member must quarantine away from school if they are positive, have been exposed, or are showing symptoms, contact tracing procedures, and how we will notify other students or staff members who are considered a close contact according to public health guidelines. For more specifics on these guidelines and other information, please go to our Returning to School page on our website. Now, we know that this is a lot to take in, and it's certainly not all we're doing, but we wanted to give you a look at what's being done as we bring students back into the school buildings under the guidance of state and local health leaders. For Evergreen Public Schools, I'm Craig Bernbach.